Hello, my name is Kathleen Cherry and I am an author with Orca Book Publishers, and I'm going to be starting to read a chapter of my book every 2 days, and I'll make sure there's a link to this at my own website, which is kathleencherry.ca, and also there is a wonderful new program, Read Aloud Canadian Book Program, and I'm going to be participating in that. Also, any questions that are sent by my website, I will try and answer either by email or a video. Everyday Hero, which is published with Orca Books and read by myself, the author Kathleen Cherry. Chapter 1. If my mother hadn't decided to be a sandwich, I would not have had 9 detentions in January. If I hadn't had 9 detentions in January, I would not have met Megan. If I hadn't met Megan, I would not have been a hero. To be accurate, my father said that my mother was part of the sandwich generation. A generation means all the people born and living for the period of approximately 30 years. A sandwich means 2 pieces of bread with a filling, such as meat, fish, cheese, peanut butter, between them. I like to define words. I once tried to memorize all the definitions in Webster's New Word Dictionary. I stopped at mineralize. I asked Dad what this meant, about Mum being a sandwich, not mineralize. He said it meant that she had to look after her child, me, as well as my grandparents. She is the filling, we are the bread. Truthfully, I am not really a child, being 13 years, 4 months, and 17 days old at the time of writing. Today is April 23rd. There is something else you need to know about me. I have Asperger syndrome, so looking after me is harder than looking after the typical teenager. Asperger syndrome is on the autism spectrum, but people who have it usually function better than most autistic individuals. Dad and I arrived in Kitimat on January 2nd at 7:37 p.m. We moved from Vancouver because Dad got a job. Mum stayed in Vancouver to help my grandparents. My grandma had had a stroke, which Dad said was bad timing. I started school in Kitimat on January 4th. I got my first detention on January 6th when I sat on the stairs at the north end of the school. I like stairs. Sitting on the stairs is not against the rules, except I was supposed to be in gym class. This was my first detention. There were only 3 of us in room 131, Miss Lawrence, Megan, and me. Megan wore black and sat at the back of the class in the second desk from the window. I knew she was called Megan because Miss Lawrence looked at her and said, "Here again, Megan." Then she sighed with a big, wheezing whoosh. After that, no one said anything. I didn't say anything. Megan didn't say anything. Miss Lawrence didn't say anything. I wished I could go to detention instead of school. Usually I achieve good grades in school. I love math and science, and I like English and social studies. I write well. My special education teacher said that people with Asperger syndrome can be authors. Some people say that James Joyce, Lewis Carroll, and George Orwell were autistic. I am less competent at speaking, though. Thousands of words flood my brain like slippery minnows. This is a simile. and I can't find the right words in the right order. This means I'm usually silent in class. Dad once told me that students with Asperger are often perfect students. I think this might be true except for the head banging. Plus, I used to circle the flagpole in my old school, and I liked to sit in corners with the walls pressing against me. By the way, having Asperger syndrome does not mean I can calculate sums like 431 divided by 92 and multiplied by 5. People who can do that are sometimes called savants. I am not a savant. On January 8th, I got my second detention. I left the change room before gym even started. I left because the change room stank of wet socks, sweat, antiperspirant hair gel, hairspray, perfume, hand sanitizer, hand lotion, sunscreen, and Febreze. I don't like smells. They make me want to wriggle out of my skin, or bang my head, or curl up in a corner. So I left. At my elementary school, this was not against the rules, but middle school is different. Still, I liked detention better than the change room, so I was not upset when I walked into room 131 again. Miss Lawrence sat at her desk. She wore a sweatshirt patterned with flowers. "Another detention," she said. Before I could answer, I heard the heavy, rhythmic clunk, clunk, clunk of footsteps approaching. "Not again," Miss Lawrence muttered, looking toward the door. Megan was tall. She wore black high-heeled boots, a jean jacket, a black t-shirt with a silver skull on it, and metal chains slung around her neck, waist, and wrists. Her long black hair was streaked with purple. She had a silver ring through her bottom lip. When she entered, everything in the room seemed smaller. Miss Lawrence pushed her hand through her short gray hair. "How long do you have to stay this time, Megan?" "Dunno. Beale sent me." You're not on his list. He must have forgotten. I will go and ask Mr. Beals." Miss Lawrence emphasized the word Mr. Then she stood and hurried out of the classroom. "Whatever." Megan shrugged, and the chains jangled as she walked down the aisle of desks towards me. I am very observant. Sometimes that is a problem. There are so many things to notice: colors, noises, smells, sounds. And I can't focus on only one thing and ignore another. I cannot notice the skeleton drawn in red ballpoint on the left sleeve of her jean jacket without seeing also the purple bruise under her left eye, the rip in her shirt, and the 4 silver rings on her left hand. I couldn't see her right hand. "What you looking at?" Megan asked, running the words together. "You," I said. "Another thing is, I should tell you, I can't lie. It's not that I don't want to lie, I'm just no good at it. I don't want any punk kid looking at me." Megan leaned over my desk. "That made sense. I don't like people looking at me either." "And this is my place," she added, putting her face close to mine. Her breath didn't smell. I looked at the desktop. "At my school last year, we wrote our names on laminated yellow cards and placed them on the left-hand corner of our desks." I couldn't see any laminated yellow cards in room 131. "What you doing?" Megan asked, the words again strung together. "Looking for your name on a laminated yellow card." "You trying to be funny?" She leaned closer to me. Her fingers gripped the desktop. Her nail polish was black and chipped. "No, I said, because that is another thing about me. I don't understand jokes, so I never try to be funny. You looking for a fight? No, I said again. Megan's hands balled into fists. Now that I could see her right hand, I noticed that she had a thumb ring shaped like a skull. I looked up to see if I could identify her expression. But I am not good at understanding faces, even though my teacher last year gave me a special feelings chart. Just keep out of my face. Megan turned and walked out of the room with heavy, clunking footsteps, not even waiting for Miss Lawrence to come back. So I counted dictionaries in the bookcase. 15. I like the number 3 and multiples of 3. I like counting. I counted the dictionaries 3 times before Miss Lawrence finally came back. You still here? Her eyebrows rose, disappearing under her bangs. I nodded. Sorry, there was a problem I had to deal with in the girls' washroom, and anyhow, you can go now. She looked at her paper. Alice. I stood, swinging my backpack onto my shoulders. It thumped against my spine. I walked into the hall, which was quiet, the dimness broken only by bright rectangles of light at the front entrance. I went to the outside door and exited into the heavy, damp grayness of a North Coast afternoon. The street lights shone into the parking lot, and 2 red taillights disappeared around the corner and onto the main road. At first, I didn't recognize their importance. I didn't question why the yard was empty, or realize that the dimness spoke of late, late afternoon. And then sweat prickled under my arms. My throat tightened, my breathing quickened. I tasted vomit in the back of my throat. I hate vomit, its smell, its taste, its texture. I rocked on my heels. 1, 2, 3, I muttered. Counting usually calms me. OMG. Are you talking to yourself? Megan was leaning against the wall of the school, chewing gum. I didn't answer because I do not like questions. Are you deaf as well? I shook my head. So can you hear? Can you talk as well? I counted the cars still parked in the teaching's parking lot. 9. Good. When did you get here? Megan asked. I looked at my watch. 4 minutes ago. She laughed. OMG, you are seriously whacked. I counted the cars again. 9 is a good number because it is divisible by 3. I counted the 9 cars 9 times. 9 times 9 is 81. Another bus arrived. I squinted in the bright light of its headlights. It stopped with a whine of brakes. The door opened. The yellow glare of the interior lights flooded outward. The sign above the windshield read, City Center. That's how I knew it wasn't my bus. I take the after-school special, and the sign above the windshield always reads After School Special. Megan pushed past me, stepping onto the bus, her chains rattling. The bus driver leaned forward from his chair. Coming? I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. It is a rule, and I like Rules? What bus do you want? He asked. I did not say anything because he is a stranger and I am not supposed to talk to strangers. If you miss the after-school special, this one takes the same route. I'll even change the sign if you'd like. He stood, reaching over his steering wheel to a small silver knob. He turned it, and it made a whining eek, eek, eek. He had patches of perspiration under his arm. I do not like perspiration. I do not like noises like eek, eek, eek. The words city center disappeared. That's when it all, the bus, the road, the eeks, the lights, Megan's question, became too much, too big, too bright. I needed to hide, to curl myself into a corner. I wanted to bang my head and feel the rhythmic thump, thump, thump. So I ran. I ran down the slick, grassy slope beside the school. I ran across the spongy wood-chip track and through the squelching sodden grass of the school field. I stopped only when I hit the prickly leaves of the evergreen bushes at the field's outer perimeter. Sweat soaked my t-shirt. I could smell it. Desperately, I tugged off my backpack, throwing it to the ground. I yanked off my jacket, I pulled off my hoodie and flung myself onto the grass. It felt cool and wet against my skin. The air smelled of damp cedar chips mixed with moss. I breathed, filling my belly with air. I squeezed my eyelids shut. I counted the thundering thumps of my heart and breathed again. When I opened my eyes, the sky was a black blanket patterned with stars. At first I liked lying in the darkness and counting stars, but after a while my teeth started to chatter. I sat up and put on my hoodie and jacket. I wondered what I should do next. If I am lost, I am supposed to phone my father on my cell phone. I'm supposed to do this in an emergency. And on this occasion, I wasn't really lost. I knew I was sitting at the north end of the Mount Elizabeth Middle School track. Then I remembered that lost also means unable to find one's way home, and in this sense, I was lost because I didn't know my way home. So I phoned Dad. He came, although it was the middle of his shift. At least he said it was the middle, but this was not strictly accurate. His day shift goes from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. According to my watch, it was 6 p.m. Therefore, he was technically 5/6 of the way through his shift. Dad drives a 1995 blue 2-door Ford Explorer with a gear shift and squeaky suspension. I heard the vehicle coming even before I saw the headlights' twin glare. It stopped and I opened the door and got in. The interior smelled of the aluminum smelter where Dad works, a mix of chemicals, heat, dirt, and sweat. Here, Dad flipped open the glove box with one hand and pulled out a paper mask, the kind doctors and nurses wear. I pushed it against my face. It tickled but blocked out the other smells so that I could detect only the slightly dusty smell of paper. I can't blow too many shifts, so for goodness sake, don't let this happen again, Dad said, accelerating and shifting gears. Blow means send forth a strong current of air. You understand? He asked. Blow means send forth a strong current of air, I said. Dad muttered. It also means when I leave in the middle of my shift. I explained that 6 p.m. wasn't the middle of his shift. Dad's cheek twitched visibly as we passed under the light of the 6th street lamp. Just catch the bus, he said. At home, Dad asked me why my jacket was wet and covered in mud. I said I'd rolled in the field. Why? He asked. I shrugged. It was too hard to explain. Too hard to find the words. Too hard. I felt my body sway, rocking backward and forward. Geez, it's okay. Forget I asked. I'll wash your clothes. Dad showered downstairs because I do not like the smell of the smelter of heat and chemicals. Then he made dinner. Dad says it's hard to cook for me because most foods involve smells, and I do not like smells. I cannot eat fish or onions or eggs or cauliflower or bacon. He made plain macaroni. I like plain macaroni. After dinner, I went into my room, which measures 10 feet by 12 feet. I opened the music box I got for my 5th birthday. The outside is white and painted with pink and blue flowers. Inside it is lined with pink velvet and has 3 tiny ballerinas. When I wind it up, Beethoven might have had Asperger's. The ballerinas go around and around. Sometimes I count them. After looking at them for 12 minutes, I emailed Mom on Dad's computer. I don't have my own computer or email address. I explained about the bus. I told her that I never knew a bus could change its name and that it had made me feel like I'd felt in Hawaii when the sea had tugged the sand from under my feet and I'd screamed that the earth was disappearing. Like I said, I write a lot better than I talk. Mom emailed right back. She asked why I'd had a detention. I wrote back to explain that I missed Jim because of the smells and the clanging of the metal lockers. Mom asked a second question. She asked if Dad had told the school yet that I had Asperger syndrome yet. I wrote that I did not know. Later, Mom phoned Dad. I knew it was Mom on the phone because he called her Lisa, which is her name. Then Dad started to shout. When people shout, it means they're mad, or there is an emergency, or they are watching a hockey game. There wasn't an emergency or a hockey game. No, Dad's voice was so loud I couldn't hear it. I could hear it through my bedroom wall. No, Lisa, we've gone through this already. You look after your parents, let me look after Alice for a change. And let me do it my way. Give her a chance to be a normal kid. I sat on my bed. Then I got out my Webster's New World Dictionary with the red leather cover. I looked up the definition for normal in my dictionary. I had to look it up because it came after mineralize. Normal. The average in type, appearance, achievement, function, and development. I wondered why Dad wanted me to be average in type, appearance, achievement, function, and development. Average. I looked that up too. The results obtained by adding several quantities together and then dividing this total by the number of quantities. This didn't make sense to me. Things that don't make sense to me make me want to bang my head and rock. So I opened my music box and watched my 3 ballerinas twirl around and around and around like numbers that never stopped. Thank you so much for joining me, and please tune in 2 days and I will upload another video. Please know that if you do have any questions, contact me through my website, and I would be absolutely thrilled to answer them either by an email, or I'll upload another video answering your questions. Thank you.